Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Today we have a customer's car here that I done a motor for last year, and he's just now getting around to getting it in the car and trying to get it wired up. I will show you around the car before we get into it and show you some of the nice features. It's an LQ4 with 243 heads. It has a Sniper EFI and it's using an MSD box to control the ignition. Not what I would do, but it's what the customer brought. So we're going to make it work. Overall, it's a beautiful car. Just needs some little bugs ironed out. It's a Magnum T56. A 9-inch Ford, Willwood brakes all around. Just got through putting the ICT brackets on for the alternator, power steering pump, AC. And I just got to run the power steering lines now. So I'll open up the box. I got a kit from ICT to put the lines on with the adapter fittings and hoses. So we'll see what we got there. Fitting, that's for a turbo Camaro build. We'll have it coming up soon. Hard to do with your hand. Second, I'm going to set you guys up here on the tripod. There we go. So we got the adapter fittings to go to the steering box and the power steering pump. I'll have to determine what thread it actually is in the pump, because the steering box already has the adapters to go to a 6AN. And we have three 90-degree fittings and one straight. Some hose, that is the pressure hose, and this is the return. So I'm going to set it up on time lapse and get this put on, and I'll check back with you when I get it put on. hose is really, really tough to work with. Got a bit of oil now and a wrench. The worst with these ones are they're not a swivel. So we had to make sure that we got them clocked perfect, because if not, it will make a kink in the hose when we put it in place. If I had known this when I ordered the kit, probably would have ordered one extra fitting that was a swivel. But we'll make do with what we got. Just work as just as fine. Just take a little more time to make sure it's clocked properly. It's one done. We'll get him in place, mark it, and then cut it and get the other end fitting put on. Go back to the car. We'll snug that up and we're going to press the pulley on. Just so we know where the hose is going to lay when the pulley is on there. Probably just lay it there to get an idea before I press it on permanently. Probably go back something with this. I may be better with a straight on the pump and try to use a 90 on the steering box instead, because I'm getting really close to the block. Let's give that a try and see. That would help me having the clock in different positions as well when I go to put the line and on the line. that is going to work a whole lot better. I need a Sharpie to mark that and make sure it's clear of everything, and we'll cut it and put an end on it. I'm just going to cut you off for a second because I got to go out on the other side of the shop so I don't make any sparks out here next to the car, and we'll be back in 1 second. Get the hose cut now. We're just going to put this fitting on. To get this power steering done, I'm going to show you over some of the wiring issues. The car was wired before it come here, and if any of you guys follow anything on Holly, they show they're pretty particular with their wiring. They're going directly to the battery, and there was some just regular butt connectors, nothing soldered, nothing heat shrinked, nothing tied out of the way. So we're going to address all those issues. It might not be in this video because I have a Denali truck I need to finish a transmission tune in, and a C7 Corvette we just built the motor for with the Nova 2200R on it that we need to do a fire up on. So we'll try to get some of those on video as well. But we'll get the line on the car now. Get the line on, it is on and clear of steering shaft, headers, anything that it could hit. So we're going to press the pulley on now, see if we can get the other line for the return to the bottle on, and make sure it clears the pump, the pump pulley. got that pressed on. We're going to have to get a string or something to go around the pulleys and try to get a measurement for a belt length. And I'll have to run to the parts store and see if I can get one. But first we'll see if we can get this return line on. The return is a lot easier to work with because it's not a braided, internally braided hose like the other. Got the return hose cut. We're gonna see where it fits to make sure it stays clear of the pulley. It's actually pretty warm in the shop here today, so I might go throw open the door. Might give us a little more light actually as well. 1 second. Beautiful day out for this time of the year where I live. We're in Newfoundland, so you can sometimes get the 4 seasons in one day. It's that bad here. Let's cut it a little shorter. Pretty good there. We'll keep it clear of pulley. We're just going to mark where the hose was wrapped up. It kind of has a natural curve to it, so I'm just going to leave it like that so it kind of stays in that position. I'm just going to mark it where I want it on that fitting, so I can try to get it pretty close so it's less likely to kink. We'll go back over to the bench and see if we can get this lined up. Before we leave off today, what I'm probably going to do, I have another car we had just built. It was on the dyno in the process of finishing tuning it, and we lifted a head gasket. So that got to go in and get the heads pulled, and we're doing the larger MMR studs. But it's a modular Ford with twin 66s. Made around 1,010 wheel before it lifted ahead, so we're aiming for about 1,200-ish when it's done, and we'll go over that just before we end off here today. And I just going to show you, I marked, see my daughter in the corner there, I marked the hose so you can see where I want to leave off the end of the fitting. So we're going to try to get that orientation so it'll kind of follow the natural curve in the hose. Of course, all the hose is spinning. I think we're pretty good there. Yeah. I'm not sure if the kit come with a hose clamp. It did. We'll get this put on the car now. I'm trying to away. Set it up so they can see what we're doing.
Can I see what we're doing? If it's set up.
So just to go over, we got a return going up to the reservoir from the box. You can see the pressure is kind of looped around back there into the pump. So once we get a belt on and get the car fired up again, be able to bleed and check for leaks. We have the wiring harness laid back in. There was bunch of small issues. Mainly the Holly comes with a, I don't know if you can see that there, a specific temperature sensor. I know this one is not it. Sorry, there's 799 heads, not 243s. Because the Holly one is a pipe thread, not the 12 mil thread, like as in both cylinder heads and this. So I'm either, they do plug in, but I think the value on them is different. So what I'm going to have to do is either drill and tap the cylinder head. I was going to get an adapter from ICT, but they're pretty bulky and they stick off far. So I'm probably going to drill and tap the head and then resolve that issue. The MSD box was mounted up here before. I'm going to mount it in here in the inner fender just to clear up some space. So when it's all finished, it can be cleaned up and look tidy. The couple of relays for the fans will be mounted in here. I'm going to make a plate, something I can bolt in with rib nuts, and make a plate there that will secure the MSD box. And there is an ignition relay and 2 fan relays, and then the fuses for them. You can still get at them with the battery in, because the battery only comes to about here somewhere. Sorry about the lighting. I think the lighting outside might be messing me up a little bit. But it's kind of just wire in there now. So I figure I can get a plate to go on here, and then once I secure the battery box there, it should be pretty good. And then we can get all of like the ground wires. We're just gonna have a clean surface and a dedicated ground for them, not pinched behind a bracket. And same with these. We just want to clean off the area where the ground is going to, so we know it's getting a good ground. So we'll resolve those issues. And here is some of, we had changed the throttle bracket to a fast one because the other one didn't clear, and there was brackets made up to try to space it out, which I didn't like, because there was one time just cycling the throttle through its motion that the actual throttle hung up because it caught in one of these. So certainly a safety concern. And there was no vacuum on the MSD box. We had to address that, run that, and there was just a lot of butt connectors, crimped on connectors. Nothing wrong with these. I just like to take the yellow sleeve off. I will crimp them, solder, and heat shrink, just so we know we're not getting, we live right next to the salt water. And I know this car is not going to be a daily driver, but it's just nice to know that you're not going to get salt or corrosion or anything in that too easy. But yeah, and again, we got the weatherproof relays just to make sure. Fan 1, fan 2, and this should be ignition. This is the original Holley relay to power up the fuel pump. I probably will de-pin that and wire in this relay here, just to make sure that we don't have any issues. So that's probably going to be it for today. Just a little overview of the car. Again, a beautiful car. Just needs a couple of issues addressed. Once it's all said and done, the customer has to get the drive shaft shortened. It's about 1 inch too long, and I don't want to dyno it and tune it because I'm nervous of it pushing into the end of the transmission too far. So once he gets that addressed, we will get it back here, probably the spring, get that sorted out. But for now, I'm gonna head to the other shop, go at that C7 and that Denali. First, I will show you this is the Cobra project we've been at for probably a couple of years now, on and off, waiting for stuff. It's on a Holley Dominator, Holley Dash. Most of it was built in-house. The motor was fully built in-house. A lot of the fabrication, not all of it, was done here. I don't have the exact number, but it was somewhere around 1,008 or 1,010 wheel it made. That was on pump gas and meth. We do have a flex fuel sensor on it. We will, when we get larger head studs and get it back on the dyno, we are going to convert it to flex. Try it there and see. But for now, it's pump gas and meth. Welds on the front. We don't have them on the back yet. They are here, but just to save the tires for when it was on the dyno, we had his stock wheels on the back. They're the weld bead locks. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you can tune back in later and hopefully get some good content coming. Sorry if there's a few hiccups along the way. I'm new to this, so hopefully we'll iron them out along the way. And thanks for watching.